Breaking news coming out for Elden Ring today. Bandai Namco just an hour ago revealed that Elden Ring's first expansion, Shadow of the Erdtree, is currently in development. No release date as of yet. Alongside this announcement came a piece of artwork that sort of showcases what we might expect from the expansion. If you could showcase what it was in one screenshot, you'll see the Erdtree in the background. Looks like it's in some serious distress. Maybe ash falling off of it, and obviously there's liquid flowing out of it. It looks like it's been damaged entirely, which means that maybe the expansion is going to take place after the events of Elden Ring. It's hard to say, obviously, right now, but that kind of gives the impression that that's what's happening. On top of this, you have the mysterious blonde-haired figure riding a steed in the foreground. The steed looks not unlike Torrent, big surprise there. And a lot of people are speculating that this might be Miquella. We did not see Miquella in the main game. There is a lot of lore revolving around this character. It would not be strange to see this character in an expansion. Miquella has long blonde hair, so it's possible that that character riding that steed is indeed Miquella. There will, of course, be a ton of speculation over the next couple weeks about what exactly is going to be in this expansion. People will be digging into this artwork. They'll be going through the lore, trying to figure out if there are some hidden references to what we might see here. And there is a lot of lore in this game from characters that didn't make it into the main game, so it'd be interesting to see if we see some of these characters in the expansion. But as more details come out from FromSoftware and Bandai Namco over the next couple weeks and months, I imagine we'll have a much better idea what we're looking at. Now, something that's really interesting to me when you're talking about when is this expansion going to launch. The Artorias of the Abyss DLC for Dark Souls 1 launched a year and I think a month after the game came out, so it was a very long time. The Old Hunters was a long time. Those were both very, very quality DLCs in my opinion. So taking a long time usually means pretty good quality expansions. That's not to say the other expansions they did weren't good quality, because they were. But I think out of the expansions that I've played from software titles, the Artorias of the Abyss is number 1 on my list, and Old Hunters is number 2. However, Elden Ring is quite a bit larger than those titles, so it's not shocking to think that it's going to take longer to make an expansion of that quality for a game of that size, and I think that's a good sign for this expansion. I think it's going to be a big, meaty expansion. Additionally, when you talk about speculation for these games, you're not just talking about the lore and what you like to see, you're talking about mechanics, like what gets added to this game that changes things up. Artorias of the Abyss, for example, added dark magic. Bloodborne added new trick weapons, and those new trick weapons could be used to do an entire playthrough, completely changing the way your playthrough went. So I think, wondering, like, is there going to be a new magic type in this game? Is it going to have, will there be new damage types? Will there be a plethora of new weapon skills that you can obtain and put on existing weapons that changes the way those weapons play, because you can put them on so many different weapons that already exist? I feel like the build variety, with just a couple additions like that in this game, could skyrocket even more. I mean, the build variety is absolutely insane in this game. You guys know I make tons of builds for this game, but I can't wait to see mechanically what they add to the game and how things from the expansion will also change a base playthrough or the rest of your playthrough if you do a new one. And in terms of release date, I think one can speculate that this is probably 3 to 6 months or maybe longer, but I don't think it's shorter than that. Like, I don't think it's going to come out next month or the month after that. I think I would be shocked if this came out before May. I could see it anytime after May this year, but I don't think it's going to come out before that. Something interesting as well that sort of reiterates this point is that FromSoftware actually tweeted out a second tweet that's different than the one that Bandai Namco tweeted out in Japanese, and it said that they plan to deliver this on PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, Steam, just as the main title, and details will be a bit further down the line, but please look forward to it. Thank you for your continued support of Elden Ring. That would seem to imply to me that this isn't going to be like tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like, that bit further down the line implies months to me. That just reading into that, what I think that means, that's what is translated from the Japanese version of their tweet. We've talked a lot over time about what our expectations are for an expansion for this game, and I think the number one thing for me, if someone asked me, like, what is it you want to see in an Elden Ring DLC, I think the number one thing is size. You want it to be a big, beefy expansion, and I think that's what we're going to get here. You don't want it to be like a legacy dungeon and a couple world bosses. Like, that's not going to cut it for this, I don't think. I think people have such high expectations, particularly now that Elden Ring surpassed almost everyone's expectations, that now they got to do it again with the expansion. And I think that's why you're seeing this take so long, because I expect this expansion to be pretty beefy. You know, I don't think it's going to be just a legacy dungeon. I think you're going to see like a whole new area, maybe 1 or 2 legacy dungeons, lots of bosses. I'm hoping for like 20, 30 bosses, you know, even if a couple are reused a couple times. I want it to take like, 30 hours of gameplay to get through this expansion. I want it to be like, an old MMO expansion that took you a long time to get through. Obviously, it's not going to be that big. But I fully expect that they're aware of those expectations, and I think when it comes to this expansion that you're just going to see something that's very, very large in size for sure. And then, of course, you have to talk about whether or not this expansion takes place before Elden Ring or if it takes place after Elden Ring. I think looking at this artwork, to me, seems pretty clear that it takes place afterward on just a one screenshot assumption. That's all I have to go with. But it's also possible that maybe the person on the horse is Marika, and that this is maybe something that happened before the events. The land does not look all scarred and broken like it did before, so maybe the shattering hasn't taken place in this land right here. So it's really hard to say. I look forward to discussion on that. So what do you guys think? Are you guys looking forward to the DLC? Are you guys happy there's finally an announcement of an expansion? What are you guys expecting in this expansion? And what does it need to have for it to meet those expectations, or you won't be happy? Let us know in the comments below.